Hello everyone, and welcome to the basic lore rundown of Five Nights at Freddy's. You might ask, didn't I already do a timeline about this? And yes, but that timeline was my personal opinion. This is going to be an as unbiased as possible guide made by me for the specific purpose of being a thing for people who've just gotten off their first personal playthrough, or having watched their first YouTube playthrough, or having watched their first theory. This is just a baseline of the lore. You need to have played every game at least once, or to have watched a playthrough of every game at least partially. There will be some spoilers in here, so I would not recommend watching this before you know anything about FNAF. Get a basic understanding of the most bare premises, and then come back, because if you're confused by the story presented to you if you watch a playthrough of it by a YouTuber, I am here to explain the most basic outline. This will not align with my personal theories or anyone else's personal theories. With all that out of the way, let's get started. So, 1970 to 1973, Henry, Emily, and William Afton open up Fredbear's Family Diner and or Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. We don't know which one. The point is, one of those two restaurants opens up around 1970 to 1973. Okay, that's the basic lore that out of the way. There's some spring-lock suits and stuff, but I'm just giving you the basic outline. William has a son named Michael and a daughter named Elizabeth. There's a striped-shirted kid and a foxy kid who might be related to William or Henry or someone else, but we don't know anything concrete about them, so they're going to be left to the speculative section. So, years go by, and the restaurant does pretty well. Around 1981 at the earliest, or 1986 at the latest, William becomes a murderous lunatic, for no particular reason. For all intents and purposes, we're going to be assuming that there's no inciting incident that sends William down a downward spiral, nor that he was malicious since the beginning, since this is a basic guide. The point is, around 1981, William develops malicious intentions. He wants immortality, and he wants to do it the fastest way possible instead of doing it slow and steady. So he's going to commit some atrocities and murder some children. And at some point in this period, the missing children's incident happens, and also in this period, his daughter dies because of Circus Baby, which means he's killed at least one character, or maybe he's just that sadistic. The point is, around 1983, sometime in 1983, the striped-shirted kid gets his head bitten. Fredbear's Family Diner closes down by the end of 1983, and Freddy Fazbear's Pizza closes down no later than the end of 1986. Fazbear Entertainment is set reeling by this, which leads us to our third point in the timeline, 1987. They spend at least 8 months working on some new animatronics, and around September 1987 they opened up the second Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. This pizzeria has some security measures done in response to the failures of Freddy Fazbear's Pizza version 1, Fredbear's Family Diner, and Circus Baby's Pizza World. These security measures are to keep criminals out and to protect the children and other such stuff. As I said before, the missing children's incident and the murder of Henry's daughter, Charlie, have already happened, no later than 1986 by this point. William, around November 2nd or so, maybe not, I don't know, kills 5 more children, actually 6 more children. He kills 6 more children in the Save Them massacre. So, this happens around early November 1987. A little bit later, Jeremy Fitzgerald gets his head bit by one of the toy animatronics, we don't know which one, in the bite of 87. So either Toy Freddy, Toy Body, Toy Chica, or Mangle bit Jeremy Fitzgerald. The golden suits and the toys are now disgraced, but the classics still have some luster left. So 1988 or so rolls around, and the third Freddy Fazbear's Pizza opens up because the second one closed down around halfway through November 1987. So, a few years go by, and around 1992 to 1993, Five Nights at Freddy's 1 takes place. We play as Mike Schmidt, who may either be Michael Afton, more likely, or William Afton, somewhat less likely. The same applies to Fritz Smith. Mike Schmidt is either the same entity as Fritz Smith, or Fritz Smith is Phone Guy. You decide. The point is, this temp worker gets terrorized because the animatronics are possessed by the souls of the missing children who have mistaken him for William Afton. Mike Schmidt finishes his week and gets his check. Around this time, shortly afterwards, William returns to the restaurant and dismantles the original animatronics for some unknown purpose. He then ends up getting chased by the spirits and spring-locked in the spring bodysuit that he had used to lure the children, and that he had worn back at Fredbear's Family Diner and Freddy Fazbear's Pizza even before the murders. At this point, the FNAF 1 location shutters its doors, and 30 years go by, and around 2022 to 2023, the Fazbear's Fright opens up. William is found in the spring bodysuit, and he has become Springtrap, and the Springtrap is hauled over to Fazbear's Fright, leading to the events of FNAF 3, where we may play as Michael, we may play as Henry, we may play as a random person, and if it is a random person, they might be named Hudson, or they might not be named Hudson. We don't know. All we know is that Fazbear's Fright burns down. Going forward, Michael and Henry are essentially the main protagonists. Michael 100% has to be the main protagonist, because somewhere from 1987 to 2023, Michael gets his organs scooped out by Circus Baby and the other Funtime animatronics, who have taken on the form of Ennard. He was sent there on a mission by presumably William. Michael proclaims to find his father, because he does not know where William is. All of these events lead to Five Nights at Freddy's 6 / Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, where at long last, many animatronics are lured back in. A very temporary worker who is either Michael or some other member of the Fazbear Entertainment staff. We don't know who. Michael is heavily suspected by many, myself included. However, we cannot say for sure who it was. Whoever they were, they may or may not survive. Henry may or may not also survive. However, it is very much confirmed that the animatronics burned, or at least attempt to be burned. They may escape, they may not. After the FNAF 6 fire, and possibly before it as well, Ultimate Custom Night takes place. Either William, Henry, or Michael gets tortured by at least one spirit, possibly multiple spirits. Fazbear Entertainment goes on the rebound and makes a VR game. An AI, William Afton, or some other spirit hijacks that game. Sometime after this, a Pizzaplex opens up. This leads to the adventures of an orphan kid named Gregory and a robot called Glamrock Freddy, and there is some sort of spring Bonnie animatronic called Burntrap that may or may not be either William, or maybe it's one of William's victims, or maybe it's the Mimic. Again, there's evidence pointing to all of these, but we're just going with the most unbiased route. The Pizzaplex also goes into ruins like every other location. There's a Ruin DLC, the Mimic gets fought, and knocked unconscious, and possibly loses an arm. And there you have it, the basic lore of Five Nights at Freddy's. Don't ask what the Mimic is, it's just an evil robot. So is Funtime Freddy / Molten Freddy. Just an evil robot that may be imprisoning the souls of either William's original 5 victims or his 6 new victims. That is to say, the original 5 that came from 1981 to 1986, or the new 6 that came from 1987. You decide. Anyway, that's the full FNAF lore summed up basically. Okay, so, there you have it. Basic FNAF lore guide. Done. Dusted. There are infinite timelines, time never ends, and resurrection is inevitable. And I will see you all in the next video. Thank you all for watching. Please watch this before you watch my personal timeline. And preferably watch a bunch of other stuff before watching my personal timeline. I will see you all in the next video.